The distress signal echoes through deep space, fractured and fading, until it reaches the ears of the Asgardians drifting in a crippled refugee ship. The survivors of Asgard, led by Thor, Loki, Heimdall, and Hulk, have barely escaped the destruction of their home when their vessel is intercepted by a massive warship. Darkness spills into the corridors as towering figures board the wreckage. At their center stands Thanos, calm, massive, and certain. He has already claimed one Infinity Stone, and he has come for another. The attack is swift and merciless. Thanos' children, Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian, overwhelm the remaining defenses. Hulk charges, unleashing his full fury, landing blow after blow, but Thanos meets him without fear, dismantling the green Goliath with precise, crushing strikes. It is not a battle of rage versus rage, but discipline versus instinct, and Hulk falls unconscious. Thor watches helplessly as Thanos tightens his grip on Loki, demanding the Tesseract. Loki hesitates, tries deception, but realizes there is no escape. He hands over the cube, hoping sacrifice will buy time. Thanos crushes it effortlessly, revealing the space stone and adding it to the gauntlet fused to his hand. Loki attempts one last betrayal, drawing a blade and lunging, but Thanos catches him by the throat. With a quiet finality, he snaps Loki's neck. Thor's scream fills the ship as Heimdall, with his last strength, summons the Bifrost and sends Hulk away to Earth, hoping to warn the others. Thanos orders the ship destroyed, leaving Thor drifting in the wreckage of his people and his family, broken but alive. Hulk crashes into the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York, reverting to Bruce Banner as he tumbles across the floor. Dr. Stephen Strange and Wong rush to his side as Banner gasps out a warning. Thanos is coming. He has already killed Thor's people. He wants the Infinity Stones. Strange listens, understanding the scale of the threat immediately. The Time Stone around his neck. The war in Wakanda begins with a thunderous roar as the Outriders hurl themselves against the shimmering energy shield surrounding the city. Inside the barrier, the Avengers stand ready, knowing that every second they buy could mean the difference between survival and annihilation. Steve Rogers grips his shield, eyes fixed forward. T'Challa orders the shield opened in sections, drawing the enemy into controlled zones. It is a dangerous move, but Wakanda will not hide while the universe burns. The battle explodes across the fields. Captain America charges headfirst, fighting with raw determination. Black Panther moves like a living weapon, cutting through the horde with speed and precision. Black Widow and Okoye fight back to back, refusing to give ground. Bruce Banner, trapped inside the Hulkbuster armor, struggles both against the enemy and his own fear, smashing through waves of creatures but painfully aware that Hulk is still gone. High above, Wanda Maximoff stands guard over Vision and Shuri, who races against time to separate the Mind Stone from Vision's body. Every moment feels like an eternity. Vision pleads with Wanda to destroy the stone if Thanos arrives, knowing she is the only one who can do it. She refuses to consider it, focusing instead on holding the line. The sky darkens as Thanos' forces push harder. Just as hope begins to thin, lightning splits the clouds. Thor arrives in Wakanda, reborn with Stormbreaker in his hand. Rocket and Groot stand beside him as he lands with unstoppable force, tearing through the battlefield in a blaze of thunder and fire. The tide turns instantly. Thor seems invincible, carving a path through the enemy ranks as if fate itself bends to his will. While Earth fights for survival, on Titan the trap is set. Thanos arrives, already wielding multiple Infinity Stones. Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and the Guardians launch their coordinated attack. Illusions, restraints, portals, and raw strength collide in a perfectly T. The dust settles, not just on the battlefield, but across the entire universe. In Wakanda, the once thundering war ends in an eerie stillness. Steve Rogers drops to his knees, staring at the empty space where his friends stood moments before. Around him lie weapons with no owners, armor with no bodies, and a silence heavier than any explosion. The victory they thought they almost had dissolves into disbelief. Thor staggers forward, realizing too late the cost of his mistake. His strength, his rage, his need for revenge all led to this moment. He had the power to stop Thanos and failed. The god of thunder collapses, consumed by guilt, while Rocket stands frozen, unable to process that Groot is gone. Banner exits the Hulkbuster armor, shaking, knowing Hulk might never forgive himself for refusing to fight. In the aftermath, the survivors gather in shock. Steve, Natasha, Bruce, Thor, Rocket, and Rhodey remain. Their numbers feel painfully small. They look to one another for answers, but there are none. The world has changed in an instant, and nothing they can do will bring it back. Far from Earth, on Titan, Tony Stark sits among the ruins, staring at the dust drifting through the air. He replays Doctor Strange's final words again and again. This was the only way. Somewhere in that future Strange saw, there is still hope, but Tony does not know what it costs or how long it will take. Nebula kneels beside him, sharing his grief. Together, they wait for rescue, unsure if anyone is left to come. Across the universe, the consequences of the snap ripple outward. Planets lose leaders, families vanish, civilizations collapse into chaos. Ships drift without crews. Cities fall quiet. The randomness of it all leaves survivors haunted, wondering why they lived while others did not. The universe mourns without knowing who to blame or how to heal. On the quiet garden world, Thanos lives alone. He tends crops with damaged hands, the infinity gauntlet hanging uselessly from his arm. Time passes, heavy and unforgiving. The world struggles to move forward, but nothing feels whole anymore. Cities continue to function, yet they are quieter, emptier, filled with reminders of those who vanished. Memorials rise where laughter once echoed. Survivors learn to live with unanswered questions, with guilt, with the constant ache of loss. The Avengers, once symbols of hope, are now fractured souls trying to understand how they failed. Steve Rogers visits support groups, listening to ordinary people talk about extraordinary pain. He offers comfort even as he doubts himself. Natasha Romanoff keeps watch from Avengers headquarters, monitoring global crises, doing what she can to hold the world together. Bruce Banner searches endlessly for a scientific miracle, blaming himself for Hulk's absence when the universe needed him most. Thor retreats into isolation, replaying the moment he faced Thanos again and again, knowing one different choice could have saved trillions of lives. Tony Stark and Nebula are eventually rescued, returning to Earth carrying nothing but exhaustion and grief. Tony confronts the others, anger masking fear. He reminds them that they lost, that they gambled everything and came up short. Yet even in his bitterness, there is a spark of belief. Doctor Strange chose this path for a reason. Tony cannot let that thought die. Far away, Thanos' peaceful existence is interrupted when the Avengers finally track him down. They arrive on his farm world, weapons ready, rage barely contained. Thanos does not resist. He tells them the stones are destroyed, reduced to atoms, their power gone forever. The mission is complete. Enraged and broken, Thor strikes him down, ending the life of the man who reshaped the universe. But there is no relief. Killing Thanos changes nothing. The dead remain dead. The Avengers return to Earth, more lost than before. Hope feels like a cruel joke. Yet the story does not end with despair. Somewhere in the vast web of time and sea,